You're watching the Coaches Roundtable on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Welcome to Coaches Roundtable from Slippery Rock University in our college preview show. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, the highly successful head coach of the Rock, Sean Lutz, here in his 6th year, 65-12 coming into this season, and your 26th year at the Rock. Coach, thanks for joining us. 26 years, when you hear that, hard to believe how fast has that gone by for you.
It goes pretty quick, that's for sure. Thanks for having me today. I love you guys that are at Slippery Rock University. We're talking about football and talking a little bit about Rock football. I couldn't be more happier that we're getting back doing what we love to do. There's been some, restrictions, but it's all about the guys, and our players are very excited about basically close to a week and a half. We play our first game against Wayne State on Thursday night at 6.
And last year, no football here at the Rock because of COVID, so we go back to 2019, and another PSEC championship for you, a 13-1 season, and the last game played on this field on a cold, snowy day against Minnesota State. What do you remember about that game?
Well, first, right now it's a little different than that snow, man. It's
yeah,
the heat is on today. You just don't know. The thing about you can't get caught up in is accolades. That was one of the best teams we ever had in school history. We had a great quarterback in Roland Rivers who had a rookie tryout with the Steelers, who's not there any longer. But we got to get over the fact of the 2019 season. I mean, we haven't played football for a long time. This team, the 2021 team, is different. Yes, we're preseason ranked anywhere from 3rd to 5 in the country. We're supposed to win the West. Those things are nice, but that's really based on a 2019 season. We're really worried about handling ourselves, our own identity. Yes, we got a lot of good players coming back. We're excited. Going to face a very tough Wayne State, but right now we're all 0-0, and it's not really a coaching. And what we do here, we just worry about today, the moment, how we practice, and that stuff will take care of itself.
And you have a lot of players from 2019 who decided to stay, got the extra year, but you lose, as you mentioned, Roland Rivers, 4,460 yards and 52 touchdowns. How do you replace a player like him? I know you've had a battle going on with quarterback. How's it look right now?
Yeah, you played here at Slippery Rock. You remember back in the day we had a guy by the name of Randy McCavish.
Yes.
And you don't replace guys like that. Those guys come around very, very often. Our quarterback that's going to be our starting quarterback for Wayne State can't be Roland Rivers. It's hard to find those guys. So right now it's a two-man race between Andrew Kester, who 2018. He was actually our starting quarterback here. And then he got hurt. He's from West Allegheny, was at St. Francis, came over here, is going to be a grad school guy coming back to...
Big kid, 6'4".
Athletic, was a heck of a basketball player, coach in high school. And then we got a transfer that came in, Noah Grover, from North Dakota. He's an engineering major, 4.0 GPA. So today we have a scrimmage. It's our last scrimmage. We have officials coming. We're pretty much going to name a starter after this upcoming scrimmage we have today to find out who's going to be the guy.
And you have coming back from 2019 your All-American wide receiver, Henry Lippman, and you have also Jermaine Wynn Jr. Together, correct me if I'm wrong, the two most prolific receivers in all of college football in 2019.
Yeah, they were. What they have done has been unreal, and we can't even forget about, really, too, Coach Sinque Sweeting. He was almost a 1,000-yard receiver from Miami of Florida. So, yeah, those three guys I think will be one of the best around. I'm excited about them. Really proud of Henry Litwin, what he's accomplished. He's also an academic All-American, and those guys will be really tough to stop.
I think together, Coach, they caught, 200 passes?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, it's unreal. And we were still, if people don't realize, they think we throw it all over the place. We were still run pass was 50-50%. everybody thinks we just throw it.
Before we get, I'm going to talk about the spread, but Lindy Sports has you ranked number 5 in the country, right ahead of you, number 4, Minnesota State.
Wow.
Number 1, the defending champs from that year, West Florida, relatively new program, and then behind you at number 18 is Indiana. You'll play Indiana and California back-to-back in the middle of October.
Yeah, Coach, I tell you what, it's a tough schedule. I'm telling you the truth. Wayne State's going to be a dogfight. They're a fully funded team. After we beat them in 2019, they beat powerhouse Ashland and Grand Valley. But when we get to that point, that is going to be a very tough schedule. They've always been down to the 2 best teams in the conference, and really, it could be last man standing this year. And the reason why I say that, with COVID, guys vaccinated, not vaccinated, there could be a lot of guys out. We don't know what to expect. Our motto is get everybody ready. If we get a guy out because he tests positive for COVID, next man up mentality. That's what we got to do. We got to have a lot of depth.
Not every player on the team then is mandated to receive a vaccination.
The way it's working, the vaccinated guys are good. They don't have to get tested. The unvaccinated guys got to get tested every week. Okay. If they test positive, then they're going to be out some games. So our rate with our football team is close to 85%. Other teams are a lot lower. So it's just what we're dealing with right now. But you can miss 2 to 3 games.
Let's go back to talk about the spread. You have one of the most prolific offenses in college football. It's the rage of college football. And Coach, and I look and read around and look at scores and that, and I'm wondering, is there any defense against the spread except an NCAA rule change where you can get a 12th guy on defense?
I like that.
The great athletes, the structure of it, and the average career life expectancy of a defensive quarter in the SEC, I think, is 3 years.
You said it exactly right. I think the only one that plays any defense in the SEC may be Alabama, because they got the best players by far in the country. But like I said before, it's fast break basketball. I know you love basketball. It's getting those individual one-on-ones, spreading them out, going as fast as you can, and defenses can't do a lot against it. So I think what defenses are trying to do is really create turnovers and just try to get stops at when they can. But look at college football today, the points being scored. And yeah, we have that. We had some shootouts, but I do think our defense is going to be much improved than it was in the 2019 season.
Coach, so much. You can only have so many plays. You can have a playbook that's only so big where you can only execute plays to perfection. You narrow it down. Does it still come down to what Vince Lombardi said? You can have all of that. It still comes down to blocking and tackling.
Thank you. It does. People lose sight of the fundamentals. The fundamentals are still, and everybody, with health, with health and safety of how much hitting you can do now in practice. But you said it. If you're spreading them out and they got those fast, quick, elusive guys, you got to try to find a way to tackle them. So you got to be able to tackle, you got to be able to block, and really, at the end of the day, it's coming down to that. But let's also face it, you can run a spread offense. You can go 100 miles per hour, Coach. But if you don't got players that are very good, that can make people miss in space, you're going to get stopped a lot. So you got to have great players in that spread, because they got to be electrifying what they do. But it still comes down to basic fundamentals: blocking, tackling, taking on blocks, how to defeat blocks, and things like that to be successful.
You have a veteran team, very successful team. You're 65-12 coming into this year. Do you want your team to have a little bit of a swagger about them this year?
Oh, we're Coach. That's one thing. We're always going to have a swag. I mean, it is our motto is beast mode mentality right now. I mean, it is. It's all about mental for us. But we are going to play with an attitude and mindset. We create that in practice. If you ever watch our practice, it's nonstop. We're playing music, but we are always going to have a swag here. We're always going to say, we're come bring it to the other teams, and that's just what we are. We know we can get beat by anybody. But we have a lot of swag. We let guys be who they are on our football team. But if you watch us, I hope they come across when they watch Slippery Rock football players, say, man, those guys like to have a lot of fun. They're exciting, they're enjoyable, and they like to play physical style football.
You ever look out here in the field and dream someday of seeing that Division II championship banner flying over the stadium?
Oh, that's the goal. I mean, I said that. Everybody kind of laughed at me. I mean, Coach
I'm
Mahalik
glad
built
to
the
hear
foundation. Coach built the foundation, Coach Mahalik. But that's our goal, is to win a national championship. And as long as I'm the head football coach, we're always going to strive to do that. That would be outstanding in this area and what Slippery Rock University means as a whole. And that name nationally, Michigan Games, Texas Game, would be unreal.
Coach, thanks a lot for taking time out and joining us. I wish you great luck. Get off to a great start at Wayne State, and I know you're going to have another championship season.
I appreciate it. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you guys every time, so thank you and go Rock.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Alan George.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left by the Tiger Albert Campman. We're here, guys. We're going to do our college football preview show, starting with the Rock. We had Coach on, did a great job. He's so enthused about this coming season. How about Coach Lutz's record, 65-12 coming into this his sixth year?
Pretty good. So that's why when we were coming on, he was leaving, he said, have fun and have swag. I said, well, that's a different word these days, have swag. So I guess that means be confident and believe in yourselves, yes.
Well, let's start off and talk about the Rock. 13-1 in 2019. The last game of the season was played here in this field on a cold, snowy day against Minnesota State. And one thing he talks about, he wants his defense improved. We talk about the prolific scoring going on with the spread. They're number 5 in the nation preseason in Division II. They have their 2 top receivers back in Henry Litwin and Jermaine Wynn Jr. In 2019, those 2 guys combined for 200 catches. It was the #1 receiving tandem in all of college football, and he settled on a quarterback, Andrew Kessler. He's from Westell, a 6'4" senior.
They're loaded. Their problem just be stopping the other team enough. That's what they have to do. Al talks about all the time. The days of 19-18 are gone, but you can't give up 45 either.
No.
He said enough. George said the word enough. That's it. And what's that mean? Turn 3 touchdowns into 3 field goals. Be good on the red zone defense. You know, when they get down inside the 20,
Yeah, they get 3.
you need to stop. If they're going in for touchdowns, it means you got to keep scoring. That's a lot of pressure on your offense.
When you guys are right, and then you just mentioned Litwin and Jermaine Wynn.
Oh, no.
You better have some guys on the other side of the ball who could cover them. And so I'm up for a new NCAA rule change. Defenses are allowed to have 12 now
Really?
because
That's what
of
it
these
seems like.
spread
That's
offenses.
what it seems like.
They're so prolific. Ed and I are doing a game about 3 years ago. Albert, it's only 21. And the other team's lining up for a field goal. And I said, Eddie, this is going to sound crazy. I don't think they can afford to get 3 here. They need 7.
Yeah, coaches are thinking that too, George.
Yeah.
They're thinking that right from the start,
Yeah.
like we are.
You
Yeah,
know,
they don't want to kick field goals.
I know this sounds crazy, but I'm amazed at colleges that have defenses that give up just 17 or 18 points a game.
I don't know how they do
know,
it.
That means that's like the old days, us shutting somebody
yeah,
out. That's us
Alabama,
shutting, huh?
Yeah.
Cincinnati, and Notre Dame, and I think Georgia. Those teams all had defenses that gave up less than 20 points a game, which is amazing to me in this day of the spread.
One of the things Saban does that is different, you don't see it because it's so prolific. He takes his best players that he recruits and puts them on defense. Most people put them on offense, and now some people have been following him because they realize you can score 40 and lose 50-40 if you don't.
Mississippi.
Yes.
Well, let's look at some of the other teams in our area. Westminster, Division III, they were the President's Athletic Conference champs in the spring, 5-0. They have quarterback Cole Kanitsa back, preseason ranked number 12. They have a second-team All-American linebacker returning in Ian Barr. And they open the season against the #1 team, Mount Union, but it's at Westminster.
Very, very ambitious for Westminster to schedule a game like that. So give them credit, but we've talked to him, and he knows the task at hand, doesn't he?
Yeah, Coach Benzel said when you put them on film, usually in Division III, there's someplace we can attack. He said offensively and defensively, they are great across the board. That's Mount Union.
And he can end up playing 5-0 in the spring, 10-game schedule playoffs. He can end up playing 17 football games this
He'll
year.
be happy if he does.
Yes.
Yeah, he will. He has a week off. He's put all his eggs in the basket. He has a week off, but then he goes to Case.
Oh, tough.
Yes.
Hey, Grove City 2-2 in the spring. They have quarterback Josh S. back and 6'6" sophomore wide receiver Nick Gustafson. They open up September 14th with Juniata, and then the big game, they're September 25th, they're at Westminster. And that was a close game they lost last year.
Big thing for Grove City is something you can't touch. They have a belief system there now. You know, they before they thought they were going to lose.
Yep.
Now every game they go into, they are believing they're going to win. There's nothing better than that.
What a turnaround that program,
Yes.
what they've done over there from going where they had 3 years, they didn't win a game, to where they are right now. And we've had the pleasure of doing a nice game over there.
And
Hope to
Andrew
get back
DiDonato
next
has
year.
done a great job
Phenomenal.
there. That wasn't easy.
No.
Matter of fact, lesser person would have bagged it.
He had a plan though, because
Yeah.
he knew Grove City. You know, I think it's important in Division
agree.
III that
I
you
agree.
know the school you're going into, and have an idea about the academics, have an idea about the labs, have an idea about alumni, everything involved, and then you say, okay, we'll start here and we're going this way. He did it.
Hey, real quick, our people that don't know, there are no athletic scholarships
Great
in
point,
Division
George.
III.
None.
So people need to know that. Those kids are playing for the love of the game. So if they have a lab, they have to go to the lab.
Yes, and that's what I want to add on to that. That's why you have to recruit guys with passion. You know, you don't look, that kid's the best player, but no, you need to get the second best player that
All
just
in.
loves it. That's what you got to get. Yes.
Let's look at the Pitt Panthers. 6-5 in 2020. Quarterback Kenny Pickett returns. They have 5 experienced linebackers returning. Have to rebuild the offensive line a little bit, led by Butler's Jake Cradle, returning for his 3rd year. The real weakness for Pitt, the running attack last year, 111th in the country. They do have an outstanding receiver back in Jordan Addison. Here's the deal with Pitt, guys. 11 straight years, 5 or more losses. The last time they were ranked at the end of the season was 2009 at number 15. The last time they were in the top 10 was 1981 when they finished number 10. Narduzzi 42-34, but 32-34 against Power 5 teams. What do you see for Pitt this year?
Well, if there's every year they're going 8 or 9, it's going to be this year. They are really, really good on the defensive side of the ball. Really good
Those
defensively.
5 linebackers.
Yeah, really good
Terrific.
defensively. And they have a quarterback that is really destined for the pros. They have everything. If Narduzzi just let them play and not get involved on game day, he's not a good game day coach. He's an excellent recruiter, excellent practice coach. You can see they're coached, but he gets involved on game day. I think you should stay out of it.
And Pickett's a leader.
Absolutely. If he doesn't wear them out running back and forth to the sideline, he'll be fresh in the 4th quarter. And they're on my over list. As soon as I got the book, they were on my over 7. I have them at 9.
I have them at 8-4.
Same thing.
Only because, for whatever reason, down through the years, they win a big game, then the next week they'll lose to Duke.
That is
or Georgia Tech.
something.
Yeah.
That is something that Pickett's going to have to take care of. I mean, when your quarterback's a 50-year and a leader like this, you need to step up and say, we just won a big game last week. We're going to practice this week.
Went extra hard.
Yes.
Because you got Carolina, Clemson, Virginia
Some
Tech.
good teams there, yes.
And then even don't throw Tennessee away.
No, not at all.
And don't throw Duke and Georgia Tech away either.
Not down there.
Georgia
No.
Tech's getting much
Yes.
better. And then Pitt, they'd like to come into October 5-0 with back-to-back home games against Miami and Clemson. Let's go down a little south there to West Virginia, 6-4 in 2020. Neil Brown, I have a lot of respect for him. 2 years, 11-11. The quarterback Garrett Doge's back, and a real terrific running back and Letty Brown. But the schedule is brutal, tough. If they do better than 6-6, it'll be a good year.
I think they're ripe opening game at Maryland. I think they're ripe for an upset.
Yes.
So Coach Brown is really a big-time good coach.
A very good
I
coach.
love him. And
Excellent coach.
So I would think he's worth something in this realm. So I'm gonna say they're gonna surprise a little bit with 7 or 8 wins. I'm gonna say that right now.
Hey, he stopped Army in the bowl. That's enough for me.
Mm-hmm. Penn State started off last year 0-5, then finished with 4 straight wins, a 4-5 season. James Franklin 60-28 in 7 years. They have quarterback Sean Clifford back. Top 2 receivers return, but the running game was really lacking last year. Injuries, and Journey Brown got sick.
Right.
So they were 55th in the nation running the ball. The schedule, they open up at Wisconsin, they're at Iowa, and they're at Ohio State. I'm saying 8-4 for the Nittany Lions.
I'll have 8, 4, 9, and 3, 2, and if everything goes their way, 10. Because they're very good, but you just named the teams they have to play.
Hey, there's a trap game
yes.
between Wisconsin and Auburn. Ball State. I know everybody will chuckle.
No.
They better watch.
No, that happens. All right, let's go to our nation's top 10 rankings. This is what I'm saying. You guys chip in. Everybody could pick Alabama. I'm going with the Oklahoma Sooners. Lincoln Riley, 45-8 in 4 years, looking for the first title. They were 9-2 in 2020. Terrific quarterback, Heisman candidate, and Spencer Rattler, and All-American linebacker Nick Benito. They have Texas at the usual neutral site. Then they're at Oklahoma State and Iowa State.
Well, that's our first off immediately. I have Iowa State winning that league. I think they're the most underrated team in the country. I think Oklahoma will have a bullet on their back for leaving the Big 12 for the SEC. I really think that Oklahoma's fantastic too. I think this is the year to get them.
They host Iowa State, but the problem is you have
Yeah.
to play twice in that league
Yeah.
because the championship is 1-2. It's not East-West.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Are they the only league to do that, or does anybody else do
No,
that?
I don't believe
think
so,
so
no.
either.
Number 2, of course, Alabama. Nick Saban going for number 7, 13-0 in 2020, the national champs. New offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, you like Bill, and a sophomore quarterback in Bryce Young, who's already going to make $1 million.
Yeah.
7 starters returned to the number 3 ranked defense in 2020. They have Miami in the opener, and then at Florida, at Texas A&M, at Auburn, LSU at home.
Nobody cares about their schedule because they are picked in every publication, every TV, Alabama. That's why I like Eddie's pick. He didn't put Alabama 1. I don't think Alabama's won this either. I think they're number 3. I do believe, I think there's a team that you haven't mentioned that's going to beat them out also. But going against Saban is hard.
May get to that team.
At A&M is the game.
Going against
Yeah,
Saban is hard.
yeah, I'm going to get to number 3, Clemson.
Oh, you got to them already.
Yeah, 10-2 in 2020. And here's my name of the year quarterback, DJ Ugalele. I don't know if I get it right.
You don't have to get it
You
right.
did well. You did well.
Listen, their top receivers and their running backs are all gone. But however, 10 return on defense. But let me say this about the defense: 10 return. But they gave up 47 to Notre Dame and 49 to Ohio State. They opened with Georgia, and I know Dabo is concerned about his defense.
Well, the 2 defensive linemen that were hurt are the two best players on their team, and they're back.
they're back.
So when you add a defensive line that is unbelievable, they're just like they were in 2018. That's why I have them as number 1, because also their 2 best receivers are coming back off the injured list. So
And they have a guy in the back of the defense, 6th year.
And if you want that secondary to be good, you better have
pass
those
rush.
edge
Absolutely.
rushers.
Yes, pass rush.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Number 4, Georgia, Kirby Smart in search of number 1 quarterback, real good quarterback back in JT Daniels, and a terrific running back in Zamir White. The number 2 ranked SEC defense. Only 2 starters, however, back on defense. They open with Clemson.
Yeah, Georgia's has stockpiled talent. They still have not got over the hump. George makes a great point. He said they could have won that game against Alabama. Remember the first
fluke?
time, the pass?
Yes,
Then it would have led
yes.
to more wins.
Yeah.
They lost that game. They've never got over the hump to be the national power. They are a great, great team. But we don't think of them with Alabama. We don't think of them with Clemson.
Ohio
so we'll
State
see,
even.
or even Ohio
Yeah,
State.
I still want to ask Kirby why he was in tight coverage.
We agree.
On that.
We
I have
agree.
no idea.
No,
Hey, number
he
5,
doesn't know.
Texas A&M. Jimbo's 4th year, 26-10. He has a new quarterback. This is the key. He's going with a freshman. He lost a real good quarterback who's in
Mond.
Kellen
Kellen
Mond.
Mond.
Haynes King is a freshman quarterback. The top 3 receivers returned, including All-America tight end Jalen Wiedermeyer. Wasn't his uncle in Animal House?
Yes, he was.
Wiedermeyer.
That was one of my favorite shows.
9 starters back on defense for them. They have Alabama and Auburn at home.
I think you had them too high, Eddie. There's a big reason.
You tell me.
You said it right in the middle of that talk. You got a
Freshman
new quarterback. In
quarterback.
there. And remember, they're
That
not.
was my- I
They're in the
considered
SEC. They are playing in some. They'll be coming after him in droves and find out
I
if they can play.
consired that, but then I looked at
They're telling other place. I
9
know.
starters on
Yeah, I
defense,
know.
and then 2 big games
And the big
at home.
games are at home, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
big-
they can stub their toe on the road.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Now, at number 6, Ohio State, 7-1. They lost to Alabama 52-24. Ryan Day's 23-2. Gone quarterback Justin Fields. In another freshman quarterback, C.J. Stroud. But they got 2 great receivers back in Olave and
Yes.
Wilson. However, the defense gave up almost 26 points a game in 2020.
Yeah, I think that's the stockpile group in the nation. Them and Clemson. So I'll move Ohio State up to number 2. I think they're that good. I've talked to many Ohio State, because this is a local area, Ohio State, that think that Stroud is tremendous. So we're going to find out. I like Ohio
And
State.
Olave, what you need to know is Fleming came out of high school, the number 1 receiver in the country. He's their 4th receiver.
How about that?
Number 7, Iowa State. And
Hey, that's my boy.
Is
Good job.
Is Matt Campbell in 41 the best young coach in the country?
He is.
35 and
He is.
28 in 5 years, 9 and 3 last year. Quarterback Brock Purdy and running back Brees Hay. 19 starters return.
Just I said it all. Purdy's there. You got a quarterback that knows that league inside out. He's really a coach playing. You know, he's like Peyton Manning. He's been there forever. Their tight end's the best tight end in the country. Kolar's the best tight end in the country. They are loaded. That's why I have Iowa State beating Oklahoma.
3 first-team All-Americans.
3, George.
Yes.
Think about that.
Number 8, Lou Fickell's Cincinnati Bearcats. 35 and 14 in 4 years, 9 and 1 last year. Quarterback Damon Ritter, he returns. The 2020 defense ranked 13th nationally. 8th scoring defense, 16.8 points a game. They're at Indiana, they're at Notre Dame, and former defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman.
That schedule, I like what you just brought that
You
up.
stole their defensive coordinator. Here's the thing about
He
them.
is good.
Here's what's happened, though.
He's very aggressive.
Here's what's different about this year. Boise in the past, Louisiana in the past, Coastal Carolina. They've all started so far up they can't get there. By starting at 8, they can get to 4.
And Eddie, I'm going to sneak one in there. They're the only team that are not in the Power 5. I'm sneaking Nevada in there. I think Nevada's going to be better than Cincinnati. How about that?
All right, let's go to number 9. I have North Carolina 7 and 3. Mac Brown 84, 66 and 1 at North Carolina. One of the best quarterbacks in the country. Love to watch this kid play. Sam
pro.
Howell, 30 touchdown passes. They lost their 2 top running backs, 2,300 yards in rushing. Lost and their top receivers, but the entire offensive line returns. The concern is defense. They give up 29 plus a game.
Yeah, Mac Brown's been saying it all day. He's been on every station saying that don't worry about our offense.
Worry about our defense.
You said Mac Brown 84s. I thought you said how old he is.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, they open at Virginia Tech on a Friday night.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
They could be undefeated.
They go to Notre
very
Dame.
short.
They go to Pitt.
Yes, sir.
Number 10, Notre Dame, a 10 and 2 last year. Gone quarterback Ian Book and All-American linebacker Owasu Koromoa. 2020 defense, they were 14th in the nation scoring defense. They have the new defensive coordinator in Marcus Freeman. They have Wisconsin transfer Jack Cohen. He's at quarterback, and All-American running back Kyrene Williams, and
He's
All-American
tremendous.
safety and Kyle Hamilton.
My
But
favorite safety and favorite running back are playing for Notre Dame. Those two are really big time. I just really worry
The schedule is
about
brutal.
their schedule.
Schedule's really tough.
You know, and Notre Dame, even though they're not where they were in 1960s, they still circle down on their calendar. You see their name Notre Dame.
Yeah,
you want to beat
they're your big. Yeah,
Yes.
they're
Florida State, Wisconsin.
Absolutely,
Yes.
they're their
USC,
biggest, and they're
Stanford.
that other team's biggest game.
North
Always.
Carolina and Virginia Tech.
Absolutely.
Hey, here's some possible breakthroughs. We're going to finish up here. I have Indiana.
Love 'em.
17 starters back.
Love
Paul
'em.
Mellon does a terrific job. Wisconsin with 15 starters back. The number 5 ranked defense from last year.
The way they play, they always scare you. Know that.
Yes.
They beat you up.
Boston College quarterback Phil Jacoby ranked the 13th
That's
best
Georgia's team.
quarterback
They're my
Division
over.
1.
That's
They're my
Georgia's
over
team.
this
A
year.
great wide receiver, Zay Flowers back. The entire offensive line, big and nasty. USC back at 5-1 last year. Terrific quarterback.
We like Washington. That
Keaton
league.
Slovis.
Yeah, we like
and
Washington.
Oregon, Mario Cristobal expects bigger things this year.
Yeah, we like Washington in that league. That's our surprise team. Nevada's our
See, they
surprise
don't
team.
play Southern
Boston
Cal.
College our surprise
Okay,
team.
they don't play.
Yep.
Hey guys, the top winning programs the last 4 years. You have Ohio State 56 and 7, Alabama 51
No
and
way.
5,
No way.
51 and 4, Clemson 51
No way.
and 5, Georgia 44 and
way.
9, Oklahoma 45 and 8, and Notre Dame 43 and 8.
I knew you'd stick Notre Dame in the summer.
Hey, but here's the thing. They got the record. What are you going to do?
He got him in there. Here's the thing.
43 and 8.
The thing
How are you
about
going to
the-
leave them
I
out?
love
you, I love
But
you.
I mean, if you took a nap and came back in 5 years, it'd be the same.
It'd be the same.
Yeah.
And all these teams are in your top rank.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
Recruiting. Hey, that's for us. We've run out of time. We'll see you next week where we're going to hit high school football.